Stop and think.
Yeah, that's what they're teaching my kids at school. Stop, think, and then act.
Stop, think, and then act. So,
Yeah.
AKA think before you speak.
Right.
So,
good news, everybody. We're back for another week.
Yeah.
I'm Jerry.
I'm Ryan.
And this is Two Brothers Off Script. Last week we talked about dealing with racism and discrimination. And the goal this week was to talk about how do you manage that self-control? How do you deal with the toxic world of the internet and at the same time try to...
And not so much just the internet. I mean, when you're talking to somebody or someone tells you what to do, like today I had to come down a little harsh on a couple of my guys, and it's like, it's not the way I want to do things. I don't want to be rough with people. I want to, everybody to be on the same page all the time. I kind of expect that everyone, and it's kind of rude of me, I guess, to do this, but I expect people to know what I want before I want it, and then it gets done.
Sure.
And I never have to give anyone instructions, and then I don't feel like a jerk for telling another grown adult how to act as a person.
Hard in the workplace, though, because you really have to not over communicate, but it's a responsibility and good leadership to set, this is the direction we're going.
And if you have that established early on, and I kind of came into my position with like the same mentality as I did in every other position where I was just another worker. And in this case, where I've been elevated to the role of supervisor, I have just this responsibility in how I talk to people to make sure that they are listening to what I have to say and not just disregarding it. There's a certain level of respect that is required for my position. Now, if I'm a jerk, then the respect is gone. They might still do what I ask because of my
Positional authority.
My authority, but they might resent me for it. Even if I'm telling them to do something in a way that's not it's not bad, but it's like if somebody, here's a common example. You were standing in the grocery store.
Okay.
You're looking at the cereal or the hair cleaner, or like let's pick shampoo. I haven't bought shampoo in the store in a long time. My previous employment allowed me many samples of good hair quality hair products. So, anyways, the point is, you're standing in the store, you're looking at the shampoo, and you might be deciding between the dandruff control. If you haven't been to...
Where is this going?
I don't know. The point is, you're standing there, you're making a decision. For whatever reason, you don't know what shampoo you like, or maybe you've got a coupon and you're not sure if you should use the coupon on the cheaper shampoo or you should buy the new shampoo or they're sold out. Any number of examples of why you would actually be making a decision at this point in your life on what kind of shampoo to use. You already know. You gotta know at this point what shampoo you like. You're either this guy or that guy. Anyways, somebody walks up next to you, person you don't know.
Okay.
They interject into your life and say,
got it?
You should use this kind of shampoo. It's better for your whatever condition you got going on up there. And, that is completely rude. It's like you shouldn't ever tell somebody, how to take care of themselves, especially if you're not in their bubble in a sense.
Okay.
You just jump into their life.
Random comment.
Okay. It wasn't helpful. It didn't do anything. But when I make a comment at work and I say, you guys should do something this way, it's experience told me that, I have a certain level of knowledge that's, maybe greater than theirs in that instance, but should benefit them in their future endeavors, basically. Anytime they come across that situation, I want them to think, well, the last time I did this, it was really hard because I was doing it this way. And Ryan came along and said, I want you to work smarter, not harder. But he was a jerk about it. So I'm going to do it my way anyways. I don't want that to ever be the takeaway from any of my my suggestions.
Sure. It's hard when, our society is almost so... It's almost like every single time there's a direction that people don't like. This is what one of the things we kind of were looking at in talking about this episode is like anytime there's something going on that somebody doesn't like, it's almost like it's guaranteed, you're going to get called a Nazi or something. Like
Right.
you're a rule Nazi or you're break Nazi or, oh, I got to show up on time Nazi or, and so those conversations are not just the conversations that happen, in a situation of work, although that's common.
Yeah.
Seinfeld had the soup Nazi guy, and we were kind of thinking about it. It's not right for that to happen. So there's
well, that being the person calling you, like, no one should ever reference me as a Nazi.
It's just
it
wrong.
Doesn't matter. I'm not a Nazi. I'm not a racist. I'm not some sort of xenophobic type person who wants to wipe out another religious group or race based on some arcane idea of what the master race might be. And it's the same as in the last episode. Like, you shouldn't use the N-word, and let's go ahead and roll Nazi into the N-word, because you're referencing a horrific time in our history, our recent history, really, of just someone kind of completely off the rails, unchecked until it was way too late, and so many people died because of that. And my wanting you to show up to work on time
is not
as bad as
not in the same category.
A Nazi. And I can understand that some people might just have that colloquialism as it's just what you say because it's comedy.
It's
maybe you picked it up from Seinfeld, the soup Nazi thing, but it's not right. And we were checking that out, and we came up with this. There's reference here.
Yeah, so it's called Godwins Law.
Yeah,
and it says as an online discussion goes on longer, the probability that someone will bring up Nazis or Hitler approaches 1. And basically, the longer you talk, somebody's going to basically call someone a Hitler or a Nazi.
Let us know what you think about that down in the comments section.
Yeah, and if the comments go long enough, we'll know that it has a reference to Hitler.
Yeah.
Made by Mike Godwin. He worked for Wikimedia, who controls the Wikipedia Foundation. We were looking at this. There's actually, they call it a game.
Yeah.
There's one that's called 5 Clicks to Jesus, where you can
These
get
are all wiki games.
anywhere from anywhere in a random article in 5 clicks. You have to be deliberate, but you can get to Jesus. And then also they had clicks to Hitler.
Yeah, you had thought that this said 7 clicks, and so our goal was to try and get to.
We want to find out if this is a true thing,
right?
And it's absolutely true. It's better than 7 clicks.
We got 4 clicks on most.
So
that's probably why they don't call it that.
The random one was Cassandra Wilson Sings Standard, which was a jazz album.
So the actual rules of the game. Let me reference that real quick.
Sure.
So you go to Wikipedia, the homepage, and you click on random. Show me a random page or random link, and it comes up with something completely out of the blue. Now, before we've done this, we actually gone through and selected several different topics. Some might have, you could say, well, of course you're going to get to Hitler from that. But so we did a couple. We got suggestion from senior production assistant.
We had battery.
I chose battery. I was staring at an Energizer battery, and I said, you know what? Battery.
So that
start there.
Artillery battery, Bismarck, which was a German battleship. World War II Hitler.
Right.
All right, so that was 4 clicks. Sponge.
Right, it was a sea sponge, actually.
A sea sponge.
Yeah.
And that got us to the Mediterranean Sea, Italy, World War II and Hitler.
Yeah.
That was 4 clicks. We did volcano, which got us to Johannes Kepler.
Right.
Who was a German
astrophysicist.
Astronomer. Got us to Austria.
Yep.
Got us to World War II, got us to Hitler. That was 4 clicks. Corn dog.
No.
This is ridiculous. Corn dog.
Yeah.
Okay? Bratwurst, Germany, Hitler. 3 clicks. He-Man.
Something completely...
We made it fictional. We were like, there's got to be a way to not get to Hitler. I mean, you still have to be deliberate, but He-Man cannot possibly connect to Hitler. Except...
First click.
Out of the He-Man reference was Arnold Schwarzenegger, because they said He-Man was a knockoff of Conan. Arnold Schwarzenegger played Conan.
Yeah.
He's from Austria, and it turns out his father
was part of
Hitler Youth or something like that. which got us to World War II and Hitler.
Yeah.
And then our last dish effort. You ready for this? Mango. Okay? The mango fruit. Philippines, World War II, Hitler.
Shout it from the rooftops, people. It's out there.
Please,
Our
your best effort to not get to Hitler. Find a topic that doesn't...
our news
Find a
copy.
topic that does not connect to Hitler. Well, maybe quilting or something.
I'm sure
It's got to be so.
But we did several references there to figure out what was going on, and this all comes from the same thing: is that the internet as a whole, is just, it's got everything in it. You can find the best things and the worst things in just a few clicks, and with such a random thing, like, we didn't think it was possible, but it's absolutely possible.
It was easy.
It was quite.
That was the thing. Is like we were sitting there. Just did this in the living room. We're sitting there. We're trying to think. Okay, our society can't be this connected to this idea, right? It's kind of like that old. You're connected to 7 degrees from Kevin Bacon, right? Everybody's connected to Kevin Bacon.
Something about Facebook. And,
but the reality is, and this is the same thing for Jesus as a topic. These ideas are so monumental in human history, and they had such wide-ranging effect on human history that everything is connected to those ideas right now, because they were almost like they shattered, like they broke the timeline.
Start over.
And so when you see people using this hate image to try to stop ideas, stop discussion, to call people names, it's wrong. And the only people who should be called Nazis are the people who are actually the neo-Nazis. And they are hateful people who are blatant racists, who are intentionally trying to destroy, or to make a group that's only for their own. And there's some really awesome discussions on why this is happening so much right now in our current political framework.
A lot of the references to Trump being Hitler and stuff like that.
And we'll link some of those in the video description below. But guys, I mean, the conversation here is that responding with intelligent thought is necessary. And to do that respectfully, if you're going to participate in online discussions and not be a troll. I mean, granted, some people are trolls, but to not participate in that because you're frustrated or because you're upset, be respectful to people. It was kind of mind-blowing. So if you can find something, you have to look for it, but if you can find something that doesn't connect to Hitler, please let us know, because that was just craziness.
Right.
Oh, did we talk about our last one? This one? The Cassandra, that was our random article.
Yeah,
Cassandra
so
Wilson sings
the standards.
Standard.
So completely random.
And you click on the random button. And that got us to jazz, which got us to the United States, got us to World War II, and Hitler.
Yeah.
So that was 5 clicks. Or 4 clicks from the random article. So how do we make this better?
I think that the main thing that everyone has to do is actually have intelligent conversation. If the best thing you can do in any, let's call them a gunfight, is come with a loaded weapon, right? That can be your facts, your points, whatever you got to say. You might have to shoot it off rapid fire to get it out there, because the person you're talking to might not want to actually listen to what you have to say, and they're going to have a rebuttal. There's always going to be a rebuttal. Anytime you're trying to have a conversation that might touch on anything bigger than, what the new Starbucks flavor is, you're going to have...
Which Starbucks has been called, an atheistic, hate-mongering organization by itself, because they didn't put the right type of stuff on the Christmas cup.
Right.
And, I mean, that's an illustration. That's the wrong way to go. Right?
You can't just tear people down because they have different ideas than you. It's not, that's not what, like everybody says, it's the freedom of speech. I have the right to say this. You have the right to speak. And I have the right to not listen to you. But if you wanted to have a conversation and you really want to get a point across, you have to do it in a way that's considerate of the person's time that you're having this conversation with. You cannot just rave and rant and be angry all the time without actually having some sort of cogent point. You're not really, like, this whole process
You're not getting anywhere.
isn't just to shove our ideals down your throat. This is mostly common sense type stuff, but we get to have these conversations because we've chosen to create this space
and publicize it
and put ourselves in public in a way that maybe we're not very widespread. I mean, thank you.
And
for
we're sometimes uncomfortable with
something. Yeah, and there's, I'm sure some of the people in our family who actually watch these videos are not 100% on board with some of the things we say, but that's okay, and it would be excellent of those people to discuss it, to open the conversation to the world in the comments and say, this is why I disagree with you.
Mm-hmm.
In a way that makes sense, and then to them, hopefully what they're saying makes sense to the people they're trying to have the discussion with. But if I ask you what you think of the political situation, I'm not necessarily saying tell me why everything's wrong. Even if that's your point of view, you have the right to tell me that, but try and make it so
I can understand
it. If I want to be convinced, honestly, like, I want somebody to come out and tell me this is why something is or isn't true. Like, I cannot listen to most conspiracy theorists because their points they're connected, but they're connected usually very thinly. And so it's hard for me to not have a way to break it apart and say, like, well, they could have beaten it this way or they could have done it that way.
Something I want to say this. I know we're going to close soon, but I was so impacted by this idea probably about 15 years ago. And the quote was, if you want people to hear you, yell. If you want people to listen to you, whisper.
Right.
There's a big difference between being heard and being listened to. And I have had so many conversations with people when I take the personalities out of politics, when I take the it's not a Republican issue, it's not a Democratic issue, it's not a liberal issue, it's not a conservative issue. It's just, here's an issue. Let's talk about this one thing.
Right.
You can have a conversation about it. And you can come to a position where you understand each other.
Let's talk about agree to disagree, right?
Okay.
In that sense, you're basically saying, like, hey, we both understand where each other are coming from, as opposed to, yeah, I think this, and then have somebody yell at me for a half an hour until I submit and basically say, well, I guess we'll just have to agree to disagree. That's not a good conversation.
You won't stay in that space. I mean, the older you get, you're going to realize that you don't have to stay in a space with someone who's going to be a jackhole to you. Like, if somebody's yelling at you,
walk away.
Eventually you just get up and leave. And the older you get, the quicker you get up and leave.
Yeah. It definitely, I've noticed.
Or you tell them, hey, thanks for coming over.
When you get a telemarketer phone
you gotta
call,
go.
And you decided at the beginning of this call, if this is a telemarketer, I'm going to tell them what's up this time. And you go off on these people, or you try, like, I've done it two ways. I've gone off on them, and then I've let them give me the long, hard sale, and then I just hang up. Like, oh yeah, what's the rate on that?
There's
that's
guy,
totally affordable.
I will say that guy, the guy who responds to
the gold farmer.
He responds to us email scammers.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll link that one too.
That's a fun one.
Guys, I would just encourage you this week, you're going to talk to a lot of people. Try to find a way, one time, to have a conversation without the identities, right? Without the personalities being the issue, and just talk about the issues.
Yeah.
With someone you disagree with. And you can, a lot of times, be made better for the conversation.
Right. It's people who disagree but continue to want to have talks with each other. Those are you can tell in the conversation.
They make the world go round.
Yeah. And I want to say this quote. I can't name the guy right now. I had it earlier, but it's been coming around a lot. And it says, I might not always agree with what you have to say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. You know that one?
Yep.
Yeah. So can't think of his name right now, but it's a pretty common one. But there's so much yelling. As soon as you say something that anyone disagrees with, you're getting shot down. You are stupid. You're dumb. You're racist.
You're a Nazi.
You're a Nazi. And I think that we need to have better conversations, with each other, even when we
disagree.
So,
guys, thanks for watching. If you like what we're doing, hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a comment down below. If you don't like what we're doing, you know what to do. We appreciate you guys taking the time, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.